This video is brought to you by Paperlike. 2022 has been an interesting year for Apple software and hardware-wise, but nonetheless, they have launched products in pretty much every category that I think are really great values. Not only that, previous gen products have come down in price and are even better values than they were before. So in this video, I've collected 10 Apple products that I think are must-haves or just like great value devices in lieu of Cyber Monday, holiday, and just shopping into the new year, 2023. The first device that I want to touch on is the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and this would still be my daily driver if I wasn't a snobby tech YouTuber that upgraded year over year. First and foremost, the display is still excellent. This is like the best you're going to get right now for the money. Pro Motion, super bright, 1000 nits of sustain, just peak brightness standard, a smaller notch. Of course, there's the dynamic island, it's fun, but you don't necessarily need it. And of course, you get your 6.7 inch just display size. So this thing is absolutely gorgeous display-wise. On the back here, the camera is equally incredible. This series of phone really stunned me in terms of the photo quality and video quality with increased sensor sizes, great photos and videos. I've shot entire vlogs with this phone and I like play it on my TV and I'm like absolutely blown away by the quality. So the camera quality is great, the display quality is great, performance of course should not be an issue. The A15 is just wonderful and the battery life is insane, even better than my 14 Pro Max, which has an always-on display, which I'm sure drains the battery. And also too, it has a brighter display outdoors, which is nice, but again, that drains battery as well. So for the money, if you really care about iPhone features and all that, this is the best bang for your buck thing you're gonna get. If you can get it new from a carrier, try that. But I mean, like if you can pick this up for like $875 for like a 256 gig model, that I think is a steal. The second device that I want to touch on is the iPhone 14 Plus, and I know this is a bit controversial. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say the 13 Pro Max is better hands down in every way, and if you're a gearhead, then maybe it is, but if you're a more casual user and you don't want to go to the trouble to find a used phone, buying this new is not a bad idea at all. First and foremost, you get the 13 Pro Max's display minus Pro Motion and minus an extra 200 nits of brightness, but that saves battery. This is the best battery or just, you know, battery life giving. I'm having a stroke. This is the oh my god. This iPhone offers you the best battery life on paper because it has the same chip as the 13 Pro Max, but a lower refresh rate, lower brightness display that's equally big, equally sharp, and pretty much equally beautiful, OLED, colorful, all of that. So if you want a big phone with great performance and also to a great camera, it's comparable to the 13 Pro Max. I think it has the same sensor, the same 1x camera, which is the most important camera anyway, and increased low light capability with some iOS 16 specific features to the 14 Plus, plus the satellite tech and all of that. This is a great value new phone. So if you don't want to go to the trouble to, you know, find a used iPhone 13 Pro Max, I'd recommend this. It is the best value regular iPhone you can get right now, I think. Go big or go home, and if you want the battery life, especially with comparable camera performance and a really gorgeous display, the 14 Plus is definitely the way to go. And when it becomes used or more readily available used or cheaper, I'd go for this too. So check out if there's any trade-in deals or if you can get this third party as well. The third device I want to touch on is the iPad Air 5, and this came out earlier this year, and I gotta tell you, just looking at the current lineup now, this is the best value iPad, new at least, you can get. First and foremost, because it has Apple Pencil 2nd gen support. The same cannot be said about the really weird 10th gen, which I was kind of complaining about in previous videos. So you get that here. You also get a gorgeous 10.9 inch, effectively 11 inch display here that is nice and bright, contrasty, all of that. Great for note-taking, drawing, which I'll talk about in a minute here. But you also get the M1 chip, which now brings new capabilities like Stage Manager and external display support with Stage Manager. So you don't even have to buy a Pro to sort of turn this tablet also into a sort of laptop-desktop hybrid, which is super important. No other iPads besides this and the iPad Pro M1 models and the iPad Pro M2 models can do that. So the fact that you can is super important, especially at a price point of $599 to $749 for 256 gigs. You're getting extra storage. You're getting pretty much a identically sized display to the iPad Pro 11 inch, minus Pro Motion, minus the M2 if you really want that. But I mean, like, you're not going to be able to use the M2 to its full potential anyway. The M1 is more than powerful enough for what you're going to want to do if you want to do any creative tasks. You get a 5 gigabit per second USB-C port on the side here compared to a USB 2 speed USB-C port on the 10th gen. So comparing this to the 10th gen and the overpowered, really niche iPad Pro, this is the tablet you're going to want to go for with a Paperlike screen protector. I must add, they are making today's video possible, of course, here. And as you know, when I do decide to be a responsible student and take notes on my iPad, or if I'm just annotating PDFs, signing contracts, whatever, I really enjoy Paperlike 2.1 screen protector for that matter, with increased clarity, but the same Paperlike feel as well. It's a must-have. I cannot use an iPad without this. So if you're considering buying one of these to use with an Apple Pencil, I'll leave a link to the screen protectors if you want one. Also, too, they are coming out with, or have come out with, some pencil grips. They have different sized ones here. They have a smaller one and a bigger one, and they definitely help you grip onto the pencil a little more. So if you're doing a lot of drawing, your hand is not going to cramp up as much, or a lot of note taking for that matter. So I'll leave links to the screen protector and of course the grips here and other accessories from them in the video description and probably in a pinned comment. Again, if you're buying an iPad, you got to get some Paperlike accessories, specifically a Paperlike screen protector. The next device I want to discuss, number 4, is probably my favorite on this list, and it is the baseline 14-inch MacBook Pro. The fact that you can get this for $1,600 on sites like Amazon is absolutely mind-blowing. You get a great spec sheet here, M1 Pro, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of internal storage. It doesn't get better than this in terms of the bang for your buck you're getting for a Mac. You get the gorgeous display here. They're the same across any spec of MacBook Pro, of course, even if you're speccing it up to an M1 Max chip, which you don't necessarily need. 16 gigs of RAM is more than enough for most users, even people doing some creative stuff too. You get an excellent keyboard design here. If I haven't already mentioned, the display is just gorgeous and high refresh rate. I mean, the best display I've seen on any laptop, period, as far as I'm concerned, even if it's not the highest resolution one. A mini LED, by the way, which is a huge deal. And the port selection on here is really awesome too. You get a full-size SD card slot and HDMI, a big deal if you are a creative professional like me or someone who likes to dabble in photography and videography. And before I forget to mention, MagSafe too. And also 3 USB-C ports opposed to the 2 that you were getting with a cheaper MacBook Pro before. Headphone jack, all of that. The design is gorgeous too, and sure, it's a bit thick, but you are getting so much power and great thermals, great keyboard. Just like, I don't know, like I don't want to say this is a perfect laptop, but the MacBook Pros for me have been like my favorite Apple product, period. So the fact that you get everything great with the MacBook Pro, and maybe not the highest end chip and 32 gigs of RAM and more internal storage, the fact that you can get this again for $1,600, it's an absolute steal. Don't even waste your time. Just buy this laptop. Even if you're not going to use everything about it, it'll last you for years. And yeah, again, the fact that you can get it at that price point blows my mind. I don't even know how retailers or like resellers like Amazon are letting this laptop go at a price like that. The 5th product that I want to talk about is the second runner-up to the MacBook Pro 14-inch, and that, of course, is the M2 MacBook Air. And this thing is gorgeous. Great buy, even at the 256 gig capacity. People were saying, oh, it's slower in the chip or the storage is slower. Who cares? This is for casual users. Of course, you can do creative work on here if you want to, or just more intensive stuff. But this is like a laptop that's going to last you, 5 years if you want to do like document typing, emailing, all of that. And more importantly, it's so much thinner. You get great battery life as well, and MagSafe and port options and all of that. I plan on selling the 14-inch here, which I still kind of use sometimes, even though I have a 16-inch. Tech YouTuber things don't even listen to what I'm saying. But what I'm getting at is, if I'm gonna be carrying a laptop on the go for emails and just like schoolwork and just whatever else, just casual stuff, even some photo editing, this is the laptop that I'm gonna be carrying around, simply because it's so much more portable, even compared to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. So I absolutely love it. You still get a great keyboard, you get a function row of keys. The display is beautiful as well, not quite ProMotion or as bright, but you're gonna love it anyway here. The M2 chip is really powerful. Again, it's gonna last you many years. You get MagSafe, you get all these great bells and whistles that you get with the MacBook Pro, but at a thinner, just design, or with a thinner design, and at a cheaper price point. I think $10.99 in some cases, depending on where you buy this. So this is probably one of the best laptops, period, you can buy right now, and probably the best laptop Apple launched this year. Actually, I think the only laptop Apple launched this year, but nonetheless, a fantastic one at that. Product number 6 is another Mac, and this is the MacBook Air M1, which was previously the best value laptop on the market. And actually, I think it still is the best value laptop on the market because you can get it for even cheaper, and it has pretty much the same chip on the inside as the M2. The M1 is not that much different. It's like 20% less powerful. And the M1 chip is still super powerful for what it can do creatively, for casual tasks, all of that. And with the MacBook Air M1, you still get a fantastic keyboard, maybe not as glamorous of a design. It's maybe a little heavier. It has the legacy sort of like wedge design. You don't get MagSafe, but you do get 2 USB-C ports. You do get an aluminum body. You still get a very powerful chip on the inside here, equipable up to 16 gigs of RAM. The M2 MacBook Air still comes 8 gig standard. This is an 8 gig model as well. Great speakers, great trackpad, you know, everything that's great about the M2 MacBook Air, just with an older design that we've become accustomed to. It's still a great design nonetheless. The display is not as good, but it's still 13.3 inches and plenty bright. So if you just want a laptop that works and will work well for a while and you're okay with the legacy design, this is, again, probably the best value MacBook you can buy, period, right now, even though it doesn't look like the new, you know, MacBook Pros and all that. But again, if you don't care, go for this, buy it new. Apple's still offering it new, or buy it used. You'll probably get this for an even better price, you know, around at best like 650 USD, I would say. At worst, maybe like 800, which I still think is a steal. I'd also look for a higher capacity, you know, storage model, or maybe like higher capacity RAM model if you're buying used. I know people are getting rid of those in favor of newer MacBook Pros. So again, this is the best value MacBook you can buy right now, especially used. So look out for good prices. People will be getting rid of these. And also too, Apple, again, still sells these new if you want to have one with a brand new battery and just, you know, unused, untouched, all of that, if that matters to you. The 7th product on this list is actually something I just recently sold to my sister, and that is the Mac Studio, the baseline model. She needed a computer to accommodate all of her creative needs. She runs like an Etsy shop. I'll actually plug her right here. She makes really cool stuff, and she's running multiple machines at the same time. She's getting into some, like, you know, Photoshop work and other creative stuff. She doesn't necessarily need an M1 Max, which is on the inside there, but I wanted to sell her or get her, you know, in on a computer that's going to last her for at least the next 5 years. And that's exactly what this computer is. I mean, if you know who you are, you might take advantage of the hardware at first, but if you want a desktop Mac that is going to just give you constant updates and give you performance into like 2025 and beyond, this computer is exactly that. The M1 Max is more than enough for most people, even for me in some cases, and I do crazy stuff like 8K video editing on occasion. The 32 gigs of RAM you get in there is more than enough as well for some intensive tasks, and in my sister's case, just having multiple applications running at once. And the 512 gigs of internal storage is more than enough to just hold, you know, some project files and applications. So this is a great device. It also comes with so much I/O, 4 USB-A ports, 2 USB-C ports, HDMI, all of that, an SD card reader on the front with 2 additional USB-C ports, I believe. So sure, it's a fat Mac Mini, but it's a really wonderful one, and you can buy it for under $2,000 if you get it with education pricing, or if you buy it used, I'm sure you can get it for under 2,000 USD. So if you're looking for a powerful desktop Mac to pair with whatever display you want, whether it's the Studio display or a Dell one or whatever one that you already have or suits your fancy, this is like the best value, high performance Mac you can get. And if you're looking for a computer that will last you for years to come, this is the one to buy, and I'm sure it might be on sale right now. The 8th product that I want to recommend here is a close second favorite of mine on this list, and this is the AirPods Pro 2nd gen. Man, Apple outdid themselves with these. They took 3 years to re-engineer them, and they are absolutely amazing. The best $250 I have spent this year. I use these for hours and hours at a time. You get an additional hour compared to the previous gen first gens, and if you own a pair of first gens, they're probably dying by now because you use them every day and there's tiny batteries on the inside here. So honestly, even if you have the first gens, I would upgrade. The ANC is also better too, so you can just drown out, you know, vacuum noise, environment noise, people noise, whatever. Even better, there's better bass on the inside here, and you can locate your AirPods even more readily now because there's like chips inside each of the ear tips and the case, so you can sort of track it like an AirTag, and you get a speaker on here, so if you lose it, you can play a sound. So they are better in every single way. And when you use these every day and you rely on them for phone calls and music and just blocking out the environment when you need to, they are a must-have. So if you're gonna buy any Apple product on this list, this is the most accessible, and also, I don't know, I think it offers you the most utility really immediately. So I'd recommend these wherever you can buy them. They're probably on sale as well. The 9th product that I want to recommend is the Apple Watch Series 7. It's basically the Series 8 minus detection for crashing your car and how often you ovulate. And if you want those features, by all means, buy a newer watch. But if you want to get a Series 7 for even cheaper, it's the same watch. I would totally buy this over a newer one. You get the same edge-to-edge display, the same processor. It's super responsive. If you have a smaller wrist, I would recommend getting a 41 mil. Even if your friends make fun of you, this screen is still gorgeous and big enough to, play your music, respond to messages, all of that. And also, too, something to consider, buying a Series 7 is going to be cheaper. So if you want to buy a stainless steel one, you're not going to be paying an arm and a leg, or at least as much of an arm and a leg, especially if you buy one of these used, because I'm sure people have, sold their stainless steel ones for an Ultra or maybe even a Series 8 if they're that insane. So yeah, there really isn't much to be said. I love this product, and it's pretty much the same as the Series 8. So if you're looking at a newer Apple Watch, don't go Series 6 or anything before, unless you want to go like, SE and save a bunch of money. If you want a bougie look, if you want the edge-to-edge display, go Series 7, and of course Series 8 if you need those newer features. And finally, the 10th product that I want to recommend is something I thought I'd never touch on, and that is the Apple Watch Ultra. It's not just for expedition people and scuba divers and all of that. It's for somebody who loves Apple Watch and who wants the best performance in terms of battery life, and that's what it really gives you fundamentally, just multiple days of battery life, which is so impressive here. You also get a gorgeous, bigger, flat, 49 mil display, which I really enjoy for controlling my music and answering messages and looking at notifications. What I said in a short that I posted recently on TikTok and YouTube, it's big with a purpose. So if you want a big watch, I really wouldn't go with the 45, especially if you I don't know, have thin wrists like me. If you're gonna rep a big watch, at least make it make sense. So I'm sure some of you might think this looks ridiculous, but for me, it looks less ridiculous than the 45, because the 45 didn't really offer much utility over the 41, which fits me a lot better. The function button on here is also super cool. I use the most lame function, which is the flashlight one, but I use it all the time. You can set it to start workouts and other sporty things and whatnot. You have a speaker on here that's super loud, so you can have an alarm go off of some sort if you're lost in the woods. I'm not gonna be lost in the woods, but if I ever was, that would be nice. But yeah, I love the design. I love that it's a big watch, again, with purpose and with absolutely incredible battery life. And if you want to have a mini iPhone on your wrist that you can sleep with, that you can have on and not worry about charging it, and you want this industrial, sort of masculine flat look, go for it. I love this band that I specifically got with it. The newer bands or the other bands are a bit obnoxious, but probably more utilitarian if you are hiking and climbing and whatever. But I like this setup here. I think it looks great. That's just my opinion though. But again, the Series 7 is a safe bet. And if you're me, it probably is best if you wear a smaller watch. But whatever, if you're gonna wear a big watch, wear the Ultra in my opinion. The 45 mil is still a good deal as well. But that's where I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching here. Hopefully this all makes sense. Check out my link to Paperlike in the description and probably in a pinned comment again. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.